So Tycoon just released the biggest update of the year, which is the brand new map update. So anyway, today I'll be showcasing you all everything that was fully added. So anyway, let's just jump right into it. So the first thing which was added is that the base has been fully redesigned. As you guys can clearly see, we have ourselves a brand new room, which is going to be called the Med Bay. And this is pretty much the full Med Bay and how it's going to be looking like when you guys fully unlock it. I gotta say, it does look pretty cool, and I guess it does make it slightly easier for a lot of people to also get medkits instead of having to go into the garage. With this, they haven't really made any more changes inside of the main base, except for overall making it look a lot better. However, the whole entire base has actually been redesigned. As you guys can see, it kind of fits a lot more with the environment a lot more now, and I gotta say, I like it very much. It genuinely brings me back to the days of the Oil Warfare Tycoon in terms of overall looks. However, with this, the bunker has also been somewhat redesigned. Now we have ourselves a brand new armored door, which basically takes us to the bunker, and it basically really does feel like we're going to be entering a metro when we go ahead and go into here. However, unfortunately enough, there will be no metro, and overall everything, it just seems to be redesigned, kind of like I said. However, the Vietnam area was actually moved downstairs into the World War II bunker, so they're both kind of matched together. And as you guys can see, the minimap was also updated. It does also look a lot cooler, and we can even see this at the bottom left. I gotta say, I really like how this looks. Anyways, with this update, they also added a brand new Game Pass hovercraft, and this is going to be armed with a smart flak, 2 side machine guns, 8x anti-tank missiles, and 36 indirect rockets. It's gonna be able to go up to 80 speed, and it's gonna be having 2.6k health. It's gonna have amphibious, smoke screen, and an active protection system. And in order to spawn it, you have to have exactly 3 weapon parts, and here we go. This is how the brand new Overlord hovercraft Game Pass is actually going to be looking like. And as you guys can see, the water actually stretches a lot further with this map. I guess the water doesn't look as good as what it used to. However, I'm gonna be showcasing you guys the whole map in just a second. But yeah, basically this Overlord Game Pass is going to be allowing you guys to have a smart flak cannon, which basically explodes upon a radius between a target. So basically, if it's not hitting the target directly, it's still going to be exploding upon it. And with this, it's also going to be having artillery rockets, kind of like something like the Buratino, and it's going to be working basically on both sides. So once you guys are turning to a specific side, it's going to be switching between each other. I think it's a very nice way to alternate the way in which this weaponry works. Anyway, lastly, it does also have AI turrets, but this isn't really too much. And then of course, it's going to also have the APS. Now let me walk you guys through the 2 brand new weapons which Tycoon has also added in this brand new update. First of all, they added the QBZ-95 and the QJB LMG. So the challenges for both of these, you guys will be able to find inside of the hovercraft area. So for one of them, you have to get 30 kills past 50 stats with an automatic weapon, and the second one is going to be stealing 10 crates. In order to unlock both of these, it's going to be costing you exactly 200 Robux for the first QBZ-95, and then for the second LMG, it's going to be costing you exactly 300 Robux. So if you guys overall want to pay money for this, the overall cost is going to be 500. Anyways, next up, let's quickly take a look on how good these weapons actually are in terms of the statistics. So let me quickly walk for the first one, which is going to be having a damage of 16.2, a fire rate of 900, and the accuracy of 82. The recoil is going to be pretty low. However, if you take a look at the LMG, it's going to be doing a high damage. It's also going to be having 75 ammo. However, the fire rate is only 650. I feel like the QBZ is not going to be this good. However, the LMG might actually be entering the meta. Now let's just go ahead and take a look at the brand new map. So anyways, for the sake of this, I'm going to be spawning in something like the Abrams X, which is pretty fast, and let's go ahead and take a look at all the 4 islands, and then lastly the middle island. So basically, we're going to be having a lot more environment in different places to hide in this map, as you guys can clearly see. I believe the render distance wasn't really changed. However, the overall map does have a much better layout now, and you guys will be able to kind of find yourself around much easier. However, you can definitely play a lot better in terms of actually sneak attacking your opponent. But oh my god, I really do love how everything here feels a lot more decorated, because in the previous map everything was just pretty much flat and it really did not give us more than just sandy areas. But however, here we can genuinely feel and see some biomes. We also have ourselves a desert, the metro I'm going to be covering in just a second, but we also have ourselves something new, which is going to be the brand new ship docks, which are now going to be taking a different shape, and I think there will be a lot more of them on the map, so it's definitely going to be easier to fix your ships and hovercrafts around the map. Let's go ahead and move into the second island, which is going to be the island where we're gonna see Golf, Hotel, and all these other bases. And now as you guys can see, we also have ourselves a brand new gas station, which we even seen in the trailers. I do feel like the quality is just much higher, and the overall art style just really does feel not the same from what it used to be before. I genuinely like how this shop is decorated, and once again, there isn't much more to that. However, let's just continue looking. Another thing is the rocks. Oh my god, these things look so much better than before. And I remember that all the rocks, they looked absolutely tedious. However, these just look a lot better. And let's just go ahead and keep moving around. I feel like the tank warfare is going to be a lot better now, and we'll actually be able to defend ourselves so much better from planes because we actually have hiding spots once again. There's plenty of ponds. However, once again, this map does have kind of a similar style to the older one. However, there's also another rock right there in the distance. And next up, we also have ourselves another ship dock, which, as I said, there will be a lot more of these. And then near the ship docks, you guys also could spawn in the Barracuda boats, as you guys can clearly see. I think once again, the layout is just a lot cleaner and everything just looks a lot more organized. Now moving on to the third island, which is going to be taking a little bit more of a desert path, kind of similar to what it was before with the older map. I do have to say they did get the desert down really well, and once again, plenty of, I guess, very old towns which were left out. I really do love all these desert towns. It really does feel like we're in a brand new game right now. This does not feel like War Tycoon. Like, I did not expect such an artwork to actually be done. And now lastly, moving on to the fourth island, it does not have any more changes. I think it's probably going to be the weakest one out of all of them. It really does not have too much to it. However, let's just go ahead and move into mid, because this is some of the things which you guys have really wanted to see. So first of all, the bridges have really changed. I feel like it looks a lot cleaner than before. However, let's go ahead and take a look at the airport, because this is something that people have been requesting to have changed for quality of life. And as you guys can see, now we'll be able to take off from both sides, and the runway is actually done in a way that it was supposed to be done. However, with this, we also received some helicopter pads, which we will be able to spawn Lakotas with, and we can also spawn Mustangs in this airport as well. So once again, better quality of life and just overall features that make this feel a lot more immersive. Anyway, let's take a look at the middle and the city itself, because this is probably the most hype thing that people have been waiting for. It's always the city, and I have to say, once again, this looks so much better, and the overall artwork has once again improved. I feel like there's some landmarks, such as the factories, I guess, which have remained the same. However, again, the graphics have overall changed too. They changed the oil rigs too. They look a lot different, but like I said, the overall theme is just pretty similar to what we had before. It's just everything feels a lot more decorated. But yeah, let's just go ahead and actually take a look at the mid, because this is one of the things which people have really been wondering about. And oh my god, this is a much different style than what we had before. And it generally felt like this place has went through war. We even have to do some parkour to get from A to B. And let's go ahead and go all the way up and see the capture point, and if anything was actually changed right there. And oh my god, as you guys can see, I'm actually unable to get up here unless I literally jump. That is pretty cool. And then we have ourselves the standard paintings showcasing all the developers, like always, but here we have ourselves the midpoint. Oh my god, this is much bigger than what we had before, and overall this just looks a lot cleaner. However, there's also another feature which was added here, is that we can also use elevators. Let me quickly find these for you. Yeah, as you guys can see over here, if you cannot be asked to go up from stairs, you could also use elevators in the mid, and I feel like this was done really well, because now we could actually play with strategy, and we could outplay our opponents by kind of flanking them while using the elevators now. I feel like this just adds a lot more theme to the game, and overall being able to play much more strategically. And overall, there's also the middle part of the map, and as you guys can see, it is much taller than what we had before. And this is why I'm going to be making my personal guess that we're probably going to be receiving much bigger and much taller ships in the future. Now, another thing which was changed is the hospital. Once again, it does have a brand new revamp, and as you guys can see, this is how it's going to be looking like. If we go up the hospital right here, it's basically going to be having medkits all over again, but once again, it does feel much more like this is a war zone. However, the only thing that really looks out of place is kind of this orange brick, I guess this is. I don't really have an explanation for it. It does look weird. And then once again, another Apache that crashed into the building, like the standard War Tycoon likes to do this. And these buildings just look a lot clearer than what we had before, and the coloring also seems a lot better. They have kept the OG Tech Motors, the AJ's Tech Shop, and all these other shops which we have over here. The lighting just overall seems to have improved as well. And we also received some different types of buildings too. Now lastly, of course, taking a look at the deserted island, as all of us like like to call it. It also has received a brand new runway, a way in which you could spawn helicopters. You could also spawn a Mustang around here, and we overall have a lot more shelter and a lot of different strategies that we could actually perform with this place. I really do like this much better than what we had before, because once again, this was a quality of life requested feature to kind of get rid of the hangar or just move it to the left or something, and this was actually done. And then once again, if we take a look at the oil rigs, those were also improved. They overall look a lot better than what they looked like before. However, the most important thing that really does bother me in this map just a little bit is the water. Yeah, and it does feel like it's a little bit more deeper than what we had before, so this could mean that we're going to be getting submarines in the future. However, other than this map really does just bring an overall overhaul in terms of performance. Like right now, if I take a look at my FPS, it's just much higher than what I had before when I used to record my videos. I remember I used to record videos on 30 to 40 FPS, and the most important part of this map is that we're just overall going to be having a much better performance. So hopefully you guys will not be lagging or crashing in this game, as mobile players and the PC players will be able to all again kind of play at the highest FPS. And oh my god, when you just walk around, this just feels so much more satisfying when I go around in the park. It just feels like I'm not playing a Roblox game anymore in any way. Anyway, that's probably going to be everything I have for you guys in today's video. Do let me know in the comment section down below what you think about this brand new map. Personally, I'm probably going to be a pretty big fan of this. However, there were some balance changes which were also made in this update, and a lot of other different things which I will just be covering in different videos. So anyway, make sure to stay notified.